Welcome to Season 2, Episode 16 of the Bulls REKAP Podcast. I'm Joe Coby, the Chicago Sun-Times. You could obviously read me in the Sun-Times sports section, probably a Bulls story. You could follow me on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at JCollyHoops. Football season's basically over for me, so follow is much easier for you. We got some smoke. We have some smoke. Do we have a fire? Don't know yet, but we have some smoke. So we got to bring in the crime dog when we got some smoke. So
I love smoke.
We got smoke. Obviously, the Trae Young deal is the big mover. And I don't think it was a one-off. When you're talking to executives and other people around the league, there's some big pieces that the teams are looking to move. The players even get the sense that. I got a nice chat with a couple of guys, including Kevin Huerter, the other day in Houston. And they like he said, both times he was traded, Atlanta and Sacramento, there's something in your gut where you kind of know. He does not have that feeling with the Bulls. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. But there is a feeling throughout the locker room that something's probably going to happen. So here's the two things I'm going to run by you and see how you react to it. Number one, and this was, I reported this in the Sun-Times today, and I've actually talked about it previously a couple times, but it's even taken on more momentum. Since last trade deadline, I've had several executives, and now it's even more than that, have told me that Arturas Karnisovas, since last February, has become much easier to work with, much more transparent, much more willing to talk what ifs instead of this. I mean, he was really difficult to work with. So even if a team wanted to do a deal, he felt like he had to hold his cards so tightly and so close to the vest that people couldn't even get a feel for like, okay, if we can't do this now, maybe it's something we could revisit in the summer. You have to kind of be willing to have those talks like, hey, if we bottom out or if we do this, then, hey, let's talk about this guy again. He wasn't even willing to share those kind of scenarios and those plans. That's changed since last year. The other thing that I think is important, I think for the first time in his tenure, he's feeling it.
Oh,
he got
7 years. How long is that? I mean, geez.
This would be. I think this is in the middle of season 6. With the COVID.
It's good to know that he has feelings, though.
It is good. He's feeling it for the first time. That, Paxson and Paxson was on a kind of a lifetime scholarship, and people have to remember Paxson walked away.
Right.
The suites were getting empty, and that was noticed. But I think it would have been you got to fire Gar before they would have forced Paxson out. They would have said, hey, you got to fire the GM because he seems to be the guy that's in a lot of these problems. But I think AK's feeling it. And obviously it's not something where if I don't get something done February 5th, they could fire me. But I think for the first time, he's starting to feel a little more weight from up above where I don't think he has his entire tenure. So those are two good things, I think, that Bulls fans can say, okay, maybe there will be a proper path chosen and maybe there will be some kind of movement because – look, this is same old script. 18 and 21.
They're 19 and 21, 4 straight years.
I mean, and it's
19
funny.
And 21, 4 straight years.
You look at the same culprits in the play-in, and obviously there's always one new team. Right now it's Cleveland. I don't suspect they'll be there.
Agreed.
But it's Atlanta, Miami, and the Bulls every freaking year.
Repeat.
Right, with a special guest star. And the only team I trust coming out of that group is Miami because Spoelstra doesn't really give a damn about playing or where he's coming from. He's shown in previous years he can attack you from whatever seed he's at and make your life hell. So what does that tell you about the league? That unless you pick a path, Miami has not chosen to tank. Atlanta has not chosen to tank. They've gone a whole different big direction. And I love what they've done the last 2 years, whether it was the New Orleans trade and getting that draft pick and moving off Trae Young, who you and I have talked about. I consider him. I consider LaMelo Ball, they're probably the two biggest culprits of just unserious basketball players. I cannot take you serious. And Trae Young was one of those guys, and they got off of him when no one thought they could. And that was a good trade. I mean, you get a professional like CJ and who they get? Kispert was the other one. I mean, you get two guys like that, and just to get off that deal and get something back that is positive and a good veteran leader, they're doing way better than the Bulls. I don't care where they are in the standings. I'd rather be an Atlanta fan or be one of the Hawks front office today than I would want to be a Bulls fan or one of the Bulls front office.
I find it funny too that Trae Young give me the Wizards. That's where I want to go. That tells me a lot about the player too. It's like that's the spot that doesn't give a damn about winning. Sign me up.
And he said, and let me look at the payroll so if I can get an extension. Beautiful. It matches.
I mean, so add that to your list of players that I want nothing to do with. Back to AK. Difficult to deal with, but then gets an extension, right? Like the hidden extension that you reported. Like we know that maybe that's why too, is that he needed to get the extension before he was willing to pick a path. I'm just speculating here. I mean, at some point, I hope like we're seeing the empty suites at the United Center. They are showing themselves more and more. It's not about the holidays or the lack of matchup. This team, like I look at you, we're taping this after the Utah game, and the Bulls. I did the recap last night, so I was dialed into the game, and I'm like, yeah. So when they win, I'm like, welcome to the recap. The Bulls win, yay! Like, am I supposed to be
against Utah without Lowry?
I mean, you know what they did? Like they ran the ball through Vooch last night, and that was awesome because when you do, like, it looks great, and Vooch can dominate. And he has a 30-point game. You get 7 guys in double figures, yada yada yada. But then, like the next 3 games, they won't do that. But you're beating a Utah team that did pick a path and is more exciting. And yes, they didn't get the number 1 pick last year, but they have Ace Bailey. If the Bulls would have done that, tried to get the one, and they ended up in the top 5 and ended up with Ace Bailey, don't you think Bulls fans would feel a hell of a lot more excited right now about being 14-26 than 19-21? And going, I know our path. There's a couple of dudes here. Let's go. Then what we have year in and year out right now, because even the path that's going to be chosen here, like there should smoke. This should be more. There should be flames coming out of the Bulls locker room. There should be flames.
Dumpster instead of a flaming dumpster.
And it's not the players' fault. Like some of these guys should have been traded 2 years ago, certainly last year. And this path should have been. The Bulls are always chasing the decision they should have made 2 years too late. Yes. And that's what they're doing again right now. Yeah, we know the draft class for next year looks good, but the problem is they've played themselves through halfway through the season into too many wins. They're in a bad spot. Even if they choose the path to sell, they're going to find
a way. They got to get lottery lucky. That's what.
Yeah, they're going to finish with worst case scenario. What do they finish with? 27 wins, 28. Worst case.
They've got to get Dallas lottery lucky.
Yeah, well, yeah. They've been lottery lucky has been the Bulls' slogan for the last 10 years.
Here's something interesting, and why I like having you on, because obviously you do the White Sox thing. Wouldn't you venture to say that right now the White Sox, I think their fan base, and it's not as big, it's not as vast. They don't fill the butts and the seats like the Bulls do. But I would say their fan base has more to be excited about than the Bulls by a lot.
Not even a debate.
And what does that tell you about the state of the Bulls, that they are at least like competing in a play-in? The White Sox the last 2 years have arguably have been one of the worst teams, and yet there's a buzz around them, whether it was getting the first pick or the Japanese guy or whatever it is. There seems to be more to hang on to and more to grip if you're a White Sox fan than a Bulls fan. I mean, what does that tell you about the state of the Bulls?
It tells you everything you need to know. I mean, the White Sox do have more to hang on to. I mean, Colson Montgomery hit only Kyle Schwarber hit more home runs in the second half. I mean, think about that. So they have enough. There's not one guy that they're hanging on to. Yeah, the number 1 pick's great, but they have a base of like 3 or 4 dudes, and they fell into the Japanese kid that could hit 40. He may not, but he could, and he wasn't supposed to be a White Sox. There was going to be a 5 or 6 year deal, and good for Chris Getz and company for getting creative enough to make a move. There's creativity in the front office with the White Sox that I haven't seen in the years prior at 35th and Shields, and certainly on West Madison. There's been zero. That's creativity doesn't actually go into that building whatsoever. It's the fact that we're talking about 19 and 21 4 years in a row, that's almost harder to do than anything else. It's almost harder to do than picking a path.
That is, to do that, I would compare, is it harder to win 4 championships straight?
19 and 21.
Or have the exact same record and be in the same crap spot 4 years in a row?
19 and 21.
You can debate it.
Dude, it's like, that one turd that won't go down the toilet for whatever. It just keeps clinging on. That's kind of what the 19 and 21 after 4 years is.
100%. So all right, let's get into some particulars of what people feel they can do, what's out there. So the first thing, Coby White. Okay.
Oh, I got questions about Coby White.
Okay. So here's the latest story that floated out there, and I can say is probably 99.9% true.
Okay.
Is what he is stuck on right now. It's not the return player that he would get for Coby White. It's, can he get a first round pick? So what he has to do, the ledge he has to come off of, is focus more on that player you could get back for Coby White and maybe settle for a second round pick. If you can get a young piece, whether it's a Rob Dillingham, however that is, because Minnesota's picks are really strapped. Everything is protected. Even their second round ones are kind of wanky. You may have to look at a second round pick down the road. And the problem is, to me, second round picks are Bitcoin. And I've said this before. and basically it's how do you value that second round pick? Some hold second round picks as great currency. Arturas Karnisovas does not. And the bizarre thing is,
they sell them.
The bizarre thing is, that's where he made his name, because Joker was a second round pick for Denver. So the idea that these second round picks to them are meaningless or almost meaningless, he's got to get off that ledge, because if they mean something to another organization, then put one in your pocket so you can bill that to that other organization. So
can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
At some point, did the second round pick Joker, it's like saying Tom Brady, right? Like, oh, Tom Brady was a 6. I mean, at some point, there's a diamond in the rough.
Right. You're not the chance of getting a Joker probably will never happen again. I mean, he could go down as one of the best big men ever. So that's not going to happen again. But you can get valuable second round guys.
No, I'm not poo-pooing that. What I'm saying is, you're known at some point, the resume, you get further away.
Oh, on his, yeah. I got what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think we're finding out that maybe he wasn't the genius behind that everyone thinks he was. So what to do with Coby White? And this will kind of flow into the second part. It might not be a Coby White deal. It might have to be Io. It might have to be Trey Jones. I think ideally, if you ask Billy Donovan, I can trade one of these 3 guys. It's either Trey, Io, or Coby. He would say, please don't trade Trey. So what does that tell you right now? So I think there are places that Coby can go, but he doesn't. I think he is a game changer for certain teams. He is not a game changer for the Chicago Bulls. And the only reason he's a game changer for certain teams is he stabilizes a position that is unstable for them. Houston Rockets, we just got to watch the Houston Rockets. The Fred VanVleet injury in the before the season started was catastrophic for them. They're using kind of, Reed Shepherd. He came off the bench. They're using different guards. It still they don't feel like the Rockets of last year when they had VanVleet. To me, Coby instantly puts them in the top 4 of the West, where they are not right now, because he can move over to either guard spot. Same with Minnesota. Minnesota feels off. They're a really good team, but they're not a championship team. You put Coby on that team, because what he does in the fourth quarter is he gets the ball out of Ant's hands when they want it out of Ant's hands, and when they want to go ISO, he can play the off guard and he can shoot the 3 and he can do what he needs to do. So there are places where I think he is a game changer. It's not with the Bulls. They have the same record basically with him as they do without him this year. So that tells me he is not the difference maker. The star of the show for the Bulls, The best thing the Bulls have is the system. The system is the elite player for the Bulls, and that's only gotten them 19 wins. So what does that tell you? The best thing they have on their roster offensively is the system. Everybody else is just a piece in that system. They don't have a game changer. So that's why, yes, I do think they are doing their best to shop Coby, but he's got to take a step down and realize just move it. Just get him off the roster. So all of a sudden, Tre Jones, who has been on a minutes restriction, can kind of be the player that we think he can be. And then also it opens the door for Ayo. You see what he brings to you, and do you want to invest in him because he's going to be a free agent? So that's what I would do with the guards, because Josh Giddey isn't going anywhere.
Nope.
And Coby is not going to get the $30 million a year he originally wanted.
No, he's played himself out of that.
He's played himself out of that. This is one of the few times where a guy bet on himself, and I was all for it, and him betting on himself. And as of right now, as of, what is this, mid-January, he's losing that bet.
Is he more of a Giddey comp at this point for a contract, you think? Like 4 for 100?
I think that's where he's kind of played himself down into.
Do you think he's playing? Is he playing through? I know we know he's been injured all year with the calf. Is he trying to play through that? Yeah, I
think it's a delicate balance, because you're trying to play through it and showcase yourself, because you do want to get out of there and then have a chance to get your biggest contract that you may ever get. But at the same time, if you hurt the calf again, or it's the Achilles,
right,
you ain't getting anything.
You're in a 1-year deal. And
this is another 1-year show me deal.
This is another situation where it's 1 year too late.
Yep.
Last year, this could have been a much different trade scenario. Much different. And first round pick, you would have had something to actually hold on to. Now, I'm with you. Like, give me best possible player return and a second round. Like, I don't, there's no, don't, you have to swallow your pride here. I think there's too much pride that's been, you've you've held on to it too long, and it's bit you in the ass, and now it's showing itself. So I'm with you. Find somebody else's misfit, and kind of like, honestly, kind of like Giddey, kind of like, remember that trade? People were bitching that, you didn't get one of their first round picks. Well, they knew what they were doing. And Giddey was a misfit in Oklahoma City, and it was a right trade. That was a good trade. So
and that was a great trade for both teams, which you want, because
1,000%.
when you're a front office guy, if you can make a trade that you benefit from, but the other team benefits from, that opens the door to business. People want to work with you, and so that's. So you think
yes, Coby gets traded, yay or nay?
I think Coby is the one that gets traded.
Okay.
I think they want to see
of the guard. You mean
of the guards?
Okay.
Yeah. Right. I think they want to see what Tre Jones looks like as the main guy.
He looked good.
And he's basically, the way he's been closing out games and being used late in games. I mean, the trust factor they have with him. And I think they really need to see Ayo as kind of a primary guard, backcourt guy. And Tre and Ayo, I think, give them a defense that's a little more, you can swallow it a little bit more than Coby, Giddey. And Giddey's going to be back, so you have to cover that up. But and then here's the other one, and talking about a guy that is someone else's dumpster fire, and not that Giddey was a dumpster fire. The trade that I still think is taking up some legs and gaining some momentum, and I've heard this in a couple places, is Vooch for Jonathan Kuminga.
Because now Kuminga's demanded he wants out.
He's demanded he wants out, and the bottom line is Golden State thought they could cover their bigs and be a bigger team with Quentin Post and Al Horford. It has not worked out. So you get Kuminga out of there, who once was finally healthy, told them, no, I don't want to play because my back hurts. So there's no reason to keep him around right now. He's $22.5 million. They're in the apron, so they can't bring on more money. Vooch is $21 million. So you're not bringing on more money. It's a perfect trade. Can you get a future second-round pick out of Golden State? That might be tough. But I think Vooch, when you think about the way Golden State plays, I think Vooch is a perfect fit for that team.
That's probably a great win-win trade for the Bulls. We don't know how the Kuminga thing will play out, but you're getting a disgruntled player with a very high ceiling with for mid-30-year-old play. That to me would be a great scenario. Yeah. Like that's the thing. The second that goes public, he wants out. that phone better be in your hand and already dialed.
100%. I mean, for last year when Dunleavy and AK were in serious talks with Vooch.
Yep.
And because Miami was not budging on Jimmy Butler. And then the Butler floodgate broke open. Quentin Post was playing well. He was shooting well from three. He was playing that stretch five that they liked. That was a fugazi because since then he's been, average at best. I think last year he shot 40% from three. He's down to 34% this year. Al Horford's playing 16 minutes per game and averaging 6.7, so that hasn't worked out. He just looks old. He can still defend a little bit, and you can intertwine him with Vooch. And that's the thing with Vooch. He could play down low if you want to go old school, throw it in the post.
Yeah.
And he could play that Golden State offense where he comes out. I mean, so I think Vooch
great fit.
The last 2 years. Yeah.
Great fit for where Golden State is, too. Where they're at.
And who would benefit the most out of that and love it? Vooch. Because he deserves it.
He definitely deserves it. 1,000%.
Yeah. So I think those are the things to watch. Those are the things that I think could actually come into play. And the nice thing is you now have an executive, whether it's by hook, by crook, by force, by pressure, whatever it is feeling it that he's got to change the way he's conducting business since the last year. And I will say this, I broke this down in the Sun-Times like last week. His last three trades, the Lonzo Ball, Isaac Curl trade, good trade for the Bulls.
Trade.
The Cavs are looking to try and move Lonzo. He's been terrible for him. And, he was going to be the adult that finished games for them. I mean, the Cavs are in peril right now. And my feeling on the Cavs. They need to make one move. Tom Thibodeau,
Coach.
And everything's fixed. Yep. Everything is fixed. Kenny Atkinson, fraud, exposed, enjoy it.
I mean, you literally had that was a podcast, I think. The entire thing.
Yeah. And then before that was obviously the Caruso Giddey trade. And the other one, the Zach LaVine trade to bring in Herter, Collins, and Trey Jones. I think Billy, right now, if you got him in a room and asked him, would you rather have Zach LaVine or Trey Jones? Forget the other two. Would tell you Trey Jones, especially at that money. He would tell you Trey Jones. That's how much he loves that guy. And now you got Sacramento is like
dying to get rid of him.
Dying to get rid of Zach or DeMar. So the last three trades, as much as we rip AK, I give him gold stars. Now, the problem is he traded problems that he created.
Right.
Those are his own problems.
Right.
But I give him credit. He has rebounded slightly with his last three moves. And then you throw DeMar in there too. You didn't get much back from DeMar, but that was kind of just, hey, DeMar, we need to get you off this roster so we can play fast. So when you look at what he's done trade-wise, he's been really solid. But now it's time to have big boy trades. And now it's time to actually make trades that pick a path, whether it's Kuminga losing Vooch, knowing Collins isn't healthy and probably going to lose some games, but that's fine. Or you bring in Kuminga, and now you can try and have some flexibility with packaging Patrick Williams with somebody. I mean, you could get creative with this thing now because now you have forwards covered. The problem is they can't move Pat right now because they're short up front. But if you're bringing something back like a Kuminga, and Kuminga, I'd like to see, can he play a four? I don't know. But, I mean, if he shows he can play a four and not just a three, then that makes Modest a little more flexible because I think Modest is a better three. So, it's sitting out there in front of him. I am not, privy to the phone calls he's getting. So the phone calls might not be going like we're hearing the rumors of and the feeling of. But then you got to make those phone calls and you got to push this thing. And so, but there is smoke. There is smoke. Don't know what kind of smoke it is.
Not a Vatican situation just yet. Okay. The method, it's just, it should be fire, but it's definitely smoke.
So that's the trade buzz. And we've got we got less than 3 weeks.
Yeah.
3 weeks from today. So it's coming. It's coming. And, that's really all I can lay out with the Bulls. That's what I got for you. I think Bulls fans should at least be excited that there's movement. It might not be the movement they like or they want, but there's at least movement. Because if they hold on to this thing and just say, well, we're just going for financial flexibility in the offseason, shame on them. Shame.
Yeah, I think any type of movement is what fans want at this point. And it's not because they don't like Vooch or Coby. I think it's time. It didn't work, and it's not the player's fault. So it's time to get what you can.
That's right. So, all right. I'm going to go to the rant, get you out of here. Love having you, Crime Dog.
You're the best.
Guy.
All
right, buddy. All right, here we go. Kali Island. Stick with me on this one. You might not agree with me, but stick with me on it. I'm going to throw 3 names out to you. It's going to be hard for you to say, okay, what do those 3 names have in common? But stick with me. And I'm not in the underneath of a boat. Stick with me on this. I just realized my background. I look like I'm in a wooden boat. I'm in an undisclosed location. LeBron James. I know you hate him, Bulls fans, but too bad. He's best all-around basketball player I've ever seen. Tom Thibodeau, one of the best elite coaches I've ever covered or seen. Mike Tomlin, one of the best football coaches the last 20 years. What do they have in common? And why are they attacked with such venom? Because what they do, and what opens the door of criticism for what they do, is they take mediocrity and they make it good. They take good and they make it great. They overachieve with under talent. LeBron took Boobie Gibson to the NBA Finals. Michael Jordan on his best day, he wouldn't have had the makeup to do that because he doesn't believe in trying to have the patience for young guys. And he also would end up punching somebody. And he just doesn't know how to make around him great. He is get on my back and I will try and make you great. He would not have taken that Cavs team to an NBA Finals. I don't care that they got swept. LeBron has a lot of black eyes. The only one he should have is the Mavericks championship series. He bowed out in that one. Okay. The rest of them, though, was him carrying lesser talent to places it didn't belong and giving it a chance. So people love to throw out, Michael was 6 for 6. That's great. LeBron wasn't, but he brought underachieving teams or under-talented teams and overachieved them and has been penalized for that. Tom Thibodeau had no business beating the Brooklyn Nets with Luol Deng in the hospital, Joakim Noah on one leg, Nate Robinson, probably his healthiest and best player, Derrick Rose, not even in the scene with the knee, and they beat Brooklyn in the first round of the playoffs. And then he continues to get this roster to year in and year out overachieve, so they're not in the lottery. And he is criticized for that. His own organization fired him for basically overachieving. They presented it as underachieving. When he lost to LeBron and remember Rose hit the bank shot and LeBron answered and Blatt was the coach and tried calling a timeout that wasn't that series. They fired him and said that was a championship team and Tom underachieved. The next year they brought basically the same team back with Fred Hoiberg and didn't even make the playoffs. But that was a championship team. So, and then finally Tomlin. The quarterbacks he's had. Big Ben his last couple of years, wanky elbow. He won with Duck Hodges. Google Duck Hodges. He won with Mason Rudolph. He probably, the Fields 6 games last year was probably the best 6 games Fields has ever played in his NFL career, especially to start a season. Who else? Russell Wilson was unusable for the Giants. They tried, but he was unusable. They couldn't wait to get Jameis Winston in there. Mike Tomlin got him to be the quarterback that got him to the playoffs last year. So all this while look at the streak of losing and this and every year 9-7, 10-7, blah, 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 blah. That's what greatness does. It lifts up. And people criticize it because they feel like it's underachieving. It's not. It's overachieving and being penalized for that overachieving. So watch out who you criticize. I stick by those 3 names. They have something in common. It's almost like God himself is shining through right now as I speak about these 3 gentlemen. Look at that. It's like the God's sun rays are coming through. Mike Tomlin, Tom Thibodeau, LeBron James, all have something in common. If you don't like it, too damn bad. All right, let's get to the list. These are the 5 non-Bulls that I think will be traded. We'll go from 5 to 1. Doesn't mean they will be traded, but I would say these are non-Bulls players that I could see being traded. Number 5, Anthony Davis. There's life. There's not life in his body, but there's life in the idea of trading for him, having him ready for the playoffs, and having a defensive presence and a game changer come postseason. It's a gamble. I wonder if someone will take it. Dalton Connect. Cap loves this guy. I like this guy. Don't love him as much as Cap. But they tried to trade him last year. The deal was done, and then physical failed. They brought him back. He has not been the same human being since that happened. He seems like he's been wanting to get back out ever since they took him back. I mean, he's a hostage, not a volunteer. Number 3, Ja Morant. Ja Morant's saying goodbye to people. He's saying goodbye to the fans of Memphis. I think he thinks he's out of there, and I think they're just trying to find where can he go. Who wants to gamble on this guy? Who wants the guns? Who wants his dad? Who wants the whole headache? Number 2, Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma is the last chance to keep Giannis a Milwaukee Buck. They have to move him, try and get something back, a piece back that vibes a little bit more with Giannis and can kind of give Doc and Giannis this one last chance to make a run. Otherwise, I think Giannis is out of there. So Kyle Kuzma, I think, really has to go because that's really the only movable piece. And number 1 is a guy we already talked about, the guy that's demanded a trade, the guy that all of a sudden his back flares up when they actually do need him to play, Mr. Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga, I don't know what you are. You've shown flashes, but I'd like to find out what you are. So, AK, get on the phone, give him a call, see what you can do. I'd like to see what Jonathan Kuminga looks like as an everyday player who's not faking a back injury and is not a hostage and is out there trying to make a name himself for this league. He's already got a contract. You know what he costs for the next couple of years. You're fine there. Can he develop into a solid NBA player and take the Josh Giddey route? So that's it. That's it for me. And the Crime Dog. Awesome, bro. Glad you jumped in. Love doing it with you. Little White Sox Bulls crossover because of the same ownership and different mentality from that right now. So until next week, I got next.